So, you guys know me, I'm a gamer. I play games, I once a year make a video about games, I go for platinum trophies, and recently I decided to pick up the Jak and Daxter HD collection to play through them again for those platinum trophies, and also just for fun. I just finished up 100%ing the first one, the best one, the other week, and I was kinda shocked at how great that game was, and really, still is. The original Jak and Daxter, subtitled The Precursor Legacy, was developed by Naughty Dog and released for the PS2, my lover, in 2001, also the year I was born. I've been a gamer all my life. So, a little bit of history here. Before Crash 1, Naughty Dog released 3 games under their former name Jam Software: Math Jam, Ski Crazed, and Dream Zone. They then switched their name to Naughty Dog, released Keef the Thief, Way of the Warrior, Rings of Power, Crash 1, 2, 3, CTR, and then this. And, you know, never actually played Keef the Thief before. Keef the Thief is an MS-DOS RPG, not usually the type of game I like to play, but it does look kinda funny. Look at this dialogue option here, it's just for sit and twiddle your thumbs. I think that's kinda funny anyways. I don't know if many other youth today find humor in that. Most youth today think Big Mouth is funny, which is not entirely an opinion I agree with, so I don't know. I understand none of that has to do with Jak and Daxter, but Jak and Daxter is really cool to me for a lot of reasons, but the main one in this video is its environments. This was their first game on what would have been next-gen hardware, and they pulled out all the stops for this hot dog. The game is a collectathon platformer, similar to the likes of Banjo-Kazooie or Spyro of yesteryear, and like those games, it's split up into a bunch of pretty open overworld sections. This game's world is really incredible to me. No load screens, a day and night cycle, and none of it feels in your face. Your surroundings always feel so organic. There is music when you're exploring a boggy swamp, but it all feels so subtle. The chirp of crickets and blow of the wind are equal volumes to the percussion. You can see this across the entire game. In that same vein, the music of a lost underwater city emphasizes the sounds of bubbles bubbling and clangs of industrial metal. And there's so much variety between them, because going into this game, Naughty Dog's first priority was creating a really immersive world, a goal very different from their previous title CTR, or even Keef the Thief. Before the characters of Jak and Daxter even existed, they knew they wanted a day and night cycle, they knew they wanted no load screens, they knew they wanted everything to feel seamless. To quote the game's lead designer, Evan Wells, the goal first and foremost was to make you really feel like you're a part of that world. That was the feeling they wanted to invoke. The game actually owns the title of first seamless 3D world in a console video game, as documented by Guinness World Records. The entry even details that GTA 3, which released 2 months prior, featured loading screens between islands. A lot of what I'm saying here is in reference and credit to this one video PlayStation released in 2012 to promote the Jak HD collection, Jak and Daxter collection behind the scenes. Most of that video is just promoting the HD collection, but there's some really good interviews with Naughty Dog designers scattered throughout. Just watch this one clip for real quick.
We had every single artist in the company draw like their vision. Like on paper, like, or on computer, they were allowed to do anything, draw their vision of like the world we might make.
That is just so beyond awesome to me that they created a world, then the game. You know what I'm saying, boss? You know what I'm saying, boss? I imagine that's a large part of what makes the finished product such a visually diverse game. 1 hour of gameplay, you're running through a volcanic wasteland, the next you're exploring these hazardous spider caves, and then you head into the snowy mountains. It really doesn't sound that impressive when you say that nowadays, and even then, these level tropes have always existed. But the worlds presented here feel breathed in and connected in a way that the level selective Mario 64 or Sunshine don't quite feel. You're not running from location to location on an overworld map or sitting and waiting. You're in this world all the time. It lives and breathes just as much as the player, something that can't really be said about the overworld map of New Super Mario Bros. It's like God of War last year where the camera never cut, and in that sense I'd say that Jak and Daxter was actually ahead of its time. And as touched upon, the music plays a huge role in making these great environments too. I'm not a music guy, I mean I like music and listen to a fair bit, but I can never explain it to you. Though I will say I love this game's soundtrack. Not much of it is all that bombastic, it's all incredibly low energy, which I understand is not a very sophisticated thought, but like, it all does such a great job of conveying tone, which is really the main thing that any game soundtrack should do. When you're exploring the aforementioned spider caves, the music intimidates you a little bit, and when trekking to a mysterious misty island, the music sounds ambivalent more than anything else, creating tension for the player. And actually, it's really funny timing, because starting November 15th, Limited Run Games is doing a 2LP vinyl collection of music from the Jak trilogy. I don't buy records nor do I own a turntable, but this is just to say I'm really happy these songs are getting the love they deserve. Back to the past though, Jak and Daxter isn't really the first first time Naughty Dog put atmosphere first when making a game. Crash 1 is flawed up the B-U-T-T butt, but when you look past a lot of its annoyances, it's actually a pretty cool game in my opinion. 2, 3, and CTR are all very wacky and zany and all that. Surf Rock plays in the background as you enter a river level and hop on a jet board, but Crash 1 is so much more reserved in setting its tone. It's like Jak 1 that way, or I guess vice versa considering the time frame. Crash 1 doesn't have any of that surf rock. If you're in a jungle, it focuses more on sounding like a jungle than it does the action on screen. Crash 2 and 3 abandoned this, which does fit those games better I'd say, but it's a cool thing in the original. Naughty Dog clearly cared about setting a tone with Crash 1, but I think they were more concerned with making a good game than an immersive one, as great as that game's sense of setting is. Precursor Legacy is tons of fun while realizing that setting with its open world and environmental design, and acts as a great middle ground between Naughty Dog's more modern design philosophies and the ones I refer to here. Naughty Dog's games nowadays, though I do love playing them and they're great in so many other rights, really focus more on realistic environments than creative ones. And they sure do look realistic. I did this one video on Uncharted 4 last year, and I do believe I said, quote, that it's one of the prettiest games I've ever played. And it is one of the prettiest games I've ever played, but I feel like something was lost here. The caves look like real life caves decorated with real vines and whatever else. They're no longer accented by radioactive glowing mushrooms and poisonous pits of purple acid. The Last of Us is one of my favorite games of all time, and part 2 launches next year. I even have a poster of it already. But I guess it'd just be cool to see a little more of this and less of this. In trying to create the most realistic surroundings possible, I feel some of the more creative and captivating aspects of these games' graphics have been lost. Like even just looking at this one clip I have on screen, where did all the color go? And furthermore, let me introduce you to this one other guy, Bob Raffi. He was an art director for Jak and Daxter, we have him to thank, and he would eventually go on with a bunch of other ex-Naughty Dog employees to found Big Red Button Entertainment. And they're most well known for developing Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, which is like the least visually interesting game I've ever played, so I have no idea what's going on anymore. That's a little unfair. Like realistically that game looks fine enough, I guess, and you can see an attempt was made to have an interesting world, but it just falls flat on its face. Then you have Ozymandias looking ass Bob Raffi getting interviewed over there telling me how much personality is in Sonic Boom, and it's like, excuse me, have you played your game, boss? That's all very off topic, but that said, if I've so persuaded you, you can pick up Jak and Daxter 1 on PS4 for only $15. So yeah, feel free to go play it. Even if some of the greats have fallen, we'll always have Jak 1.